Hey guys, Justin here with AmericanMuscle.com. Today we're taking a closer look at and installing these wild-looking S550 Euro 2024 style taillights with the RGB feature and clear lenses available for your 2015 through 2023 Mustang. Now you guys be considering the S550 Euro options if you'd like to go with a combination of that newer S650 angular styling along with the clear lenses of that Euro design, but would really like to kick things up a notch thanks to the RGB functionality that will allow users to choose from dozens of color options and patterns to be used at your next car show. Now, when talking features here, the S550 Euro option, I would say the biggest is no doubt your very radical change in appearance thanks to the implementation of the modern S650 inspired styling. By now, I'm sure most Mustang fans have seen the 24 and newer Mustangs and the changes Ford has made to the rear end. And that big change and implementation of the wedge shape really did alter that S50 tri-bar design from 2015 to 2023. Now, in addition to that, not only were these angles a bit different, but these lenses kind of really did stick out or protrude with the S550s. Not the case here with the S650 option. They're a bit more low profile, and the same can be said for the taillights here for your S550. Now, in addition to the S650 inspiration, you then of course have to factor in the clear lenses, which of course is that Euro design. A lot of the European Mustangs came with clear taillights from the factory, so it is a big popular look here in the States, and these do include that as well for a completely different look. And then finally, these particular options do also include the RGB functionality, which gives owners the ability to choose from not only a bunch of different colors, but also from a bunch of different light patterns as well, thanks to a downloaded phone app, which really is a great way to stand out at your next show. Now moving into construction, and the S550 Euro options are going to be similar to the OE tails in a lot of different ways, especially build quality here. Starting off with that gloss black ABS plastic base, which will play home to those clear tri-bar lenses loaded with a ton of high-powered LEDs. Now that is of course going to keep everything legal by going with the red lighting. S550 Euro just makes sure to tell you guys not to use those colored lights on the street. Use those, or save those rather, for your next show. Now the lights still will retain that iconic sequential pattern for the signals themselves and will feature a very simple plug and play install. Now in addition to all of that and the RGB functionality, these lights can also have a few different modes activated with this push button here. S550 Euro does include a detailed guide on how to switch through some of these different modes, but just know that is also another feature to keep in mind when talking about these tails. Moving into pricing here, guys, and I would say coming in at or around that low $700 price point, the S550 Euro taillights that we have here today will be one of your more expensive options on the site for your S550 at home. But you have to keep in mind, these are one of the only options currently to deliver not only that modern S650 styling along with the Euro lenses, but also kick in that RGB functionality as well. So yes, they're a bit more money, but this is one of those instances where you pay for what you get, and you're really getting a lot of features out of these taillights. Last but not least, let's get into the installation, and site's gonna call this a solid 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. Again, thanks to that plug and play install, taking you no more than an hour to complete from start to finish. But now let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
The tools you'll need for this project are a ratchet, a 10mm socket, and a trim panel removal tool. Hi everyone, today we're installing a set of taillights on our Mustang. So let's get started with the uninstall of the stock lights first. All right, once you've got your deck lid open, first thing we're gonna do is remove this trim piece here on the back of the trunk. And to do that, we've got 4 knobs, one here, one down in the corner here, and 2 on the other side in the same position. So we'll just go ahead and unscrew those, remove this panel, and then we've got 2 push pins, one on each side, that we need to remove to gain access to the lights. All right, so we'll remove our 2 knobs on the passenger side at the top of this panel and at the bottom. And once you've got those out, you can do the same thing on the other side. Now with our knobs removed, we can go ahead and pull our trim panel away and lift up and get it out of the way. All right, now we're going to use our trim panel removal tool and remove this push pin right here at the top. We'll just slip that underneath and pry it out. So once our push pin's out of the way, we can go ahead and fold our trim panel down. And then the first thing we're gonna do is down here in the corner is the electrical connector for the lights. All you have to do is push in on the release tab at the top and lift that up and disconnect your lights. Next thing we're gonna do is we've got two 10mm nuts here, and there's one over here in the corner that unfortunately we can't get to with the camera, but you'll be able to see it once you start looking. So now we'll go ahead and remove these three 10mm bolts. Now, once you've got those bolts, those nuts out of the way, go ahead and grab a hold of your light and pull it straight back. Now, you don't want to pull it too far because there is a grommet right behind the lights that we need to remove as well. So now you just push down on the edge of the grommet and pull it out and remove your connector. And you can repeat that process for the other side. All right, before we get started with our install, there's a couple of things that we need to point out first. One, there is an option to actually connect your tail lights to your third brake light behind the rear window. We're not going to be hooking that up today, but just so you know, there is a harness here that is included in the kit that you're going to connect to both lights. You can see the connector right there, and run that up to your third brake light. Like I said, we're not installing that on ours today, so we'll just skip over that for right now. Now the other thing is, when you feed the harness through the hole for the grommet in the back, you've got this extra harness here on the light. Now this harness is what turns on your sequential or turns them off on the turn signals. So you want to make sure that this goes through the hole as well so that you can activate it or deactivate it depending on your preferences once you get this installed. So let's go ahead and get our lights installed. So we're basically just reversing our uninstall process. We'll feed both of the harnesses through the hole, insert our grommet, and then install our light. Now with our light installed, we'll go ahead and reinstall the original nuts to hold it in place. Now we'll get the one back here in the corner and tighten them down with our 10mm socket. And you want to make sure not to over tighten these. Now we can plug in our harness to our lights. And make sure that we have access to our activation switch. And now you can repeat that process for the other side. Before we reinstall our trim piece for the trunk here, we've got our red button here on both the lights that need to be set. So you can determine whether you want red or yellow sequential or red or yellow straight flashing. So the way to do this is you go ahead and turn the vehicle on, turn your turn signal on, and then just press the button until you get the sequence that you want. Once you get the sequence that you want, then you can go ahead and do the same thing on the other light, get them both to match, and now we're ready to install our trim piece. So we'll just set this in place. Line up the holes for our studs. and reinstall our 4 knobs. Install our push pin as well. And now you can repeat that process for the other side. Now, as you can see, we've got the RGB app pulled up on our phone here, and you can download this from either your Apple Store or Google Play. And once you get it installed, there's a QR code on the paper that's inside the kit. It's Happy Lighting. And once you get it installed, there's 3 bars up here. If you click on those, it'll show you that you have however many of their options for lights installed on your vehicle. It will find them and connect to them via Bluetooth. So we have, as you can see here, we have 2 of them. We have 1 for each side on the taillights. So we're all connected. You've got a color wheel here that you can change simply by dragging the little red dot around to change the color of your lights. So you can drag it around, change the color of your lights to various shades. Now it also has some presets down at the bottom, so if you just click on those, it'll automatically change it to that preset color. Now, once you've got the color that you want, the system will remember this the next time you turn your lights on. Also, you have various options down here at the bottom where you can change the dynamic of the lights in question. They have several different modes that you can choose from. You can change the speed as well. You can connect it to music on your phone. And that wraps up our review and install of the S550 Euros 2024 style RGB taillights with the black housing and clear lens for your 15 to 23 Mustang. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.